Hey everybody, how you doing? Good evening from my house. I'm off tonight, but obviously a big deal for the Bills today. So just wanted to check in a little bit. Before we get into that, I just want to point out this right here. This is a Real Men Wear Pink. I don't know if you can see it there from the American Cancer Society. I'm part of the Real Men Wear Pink campaign all this month in October, wearing pink every day. Trying to get the word out about the fight against breast cancer. If you want to help donate, you can go to just Google Real Men Wear Pink, and then it'll say find a candidate. And I'm your Huckleberry. I'm your guy. So donate to my page if you can. Any amount helps. We all know someone who has been, touched or affected by breast cancer. So if you could please help and donate, it would be much appreciated. All right, let's talk about the Bills. If you hadn't heard the news, Bills game this weekend in Tennessee has been moved to Tuesday. And then because of that, the game against the Chiefs in Orchard Park has been moved from Thursday to Sunday. No word on TV networks for that stuff. I don't think the NFL has actually made it official. Actually, while I'm doing this, I'll look up and see if the NFL has officially changed the schedule. Last I checked, they had not. But I'll tell you what, there were a lot of different. Oh, here we go. It isn't official now. There were a lot of different changes that could have happened for the Bills, and obviously there's still some things that could happen. Um, so okay, Bills Titans is officially now 7 o'clock. That'll be on News 8 and CBS. So you can still see that game on News 8. The Chiefs game against the Bills officially has been moved to later in the weekend. So it is possible that Bills Chiefs game won't be Sunday because that was kind of, to me, I thought the worst part of the deal for the Bills, that you have a big time national TV night game, and the rumor was, the report was that the game would be played. So this is about an hour old now. The game will be played on Sunday, but actually the official NFL release is that the game will be later in the weekend. So it could still be Sunday, but we'll see. And I hope, for the sake of all you Bills fans out there, that game ends up on Monday night, because to me that would be the most logical change. You got a game here that was supposed to be a big time national TV game. Fox would probably pick up a big audience on a Thursday night. And instead now, if you play that game on Sunday afternoon, it's not the same thing. It doesn't have the same, you know, the same pizzazz, the same draw. So to me, you can easily bump it to Monday. It makes a lot of sense. You're already playing the Bills on Tuesday. It gives them a little more regular week of rest. I know the game was supposed to be Thursday, but no need to make it a short rest game if you don't have to. And then the Bills can, play the Jets on a 1 day short week of rest after that. Tuesday, Monday, Sunday seems to make the most sense when it comes to the NFL. So, if that is the case, if they do play the game on Monday, then I think it's a good job of the NFL, and the Bills, make out okay. But if that game is Sunday, now you've taken this Titans game where, at worst the Bills should be playing this. I guess, the Bills should be in a spot where they have a significant advantage over the Titans, because it seems like the Titans made a lot of mistakes. We don't know that for sure, and I'll get into that in a sec. But the Bills should at least be in a spot with the Titans where you're not giving the Titans every single benefit of the doubt. And that's what a Tuesday game seems to be. Now, look, I'm going to back up and understand that the NFL has to find a way to make this game exist. If that means Tuesday, that means Tuesday. And I've talked about here a couple times that, look, this season is going to have schedule and competitive balance inequities. And if that means Tennessee gets all the chance they can get to play the Bills, then so be it. So, although the Titans are getting a little bit of a break, the Bills still come out ahead on that one. But it's the next game that, again, the Bills are really losing out. Because, even if the game is played Monday, at best, the Bills are still going to have 2 days less rest to take on the Chiefs than what Kansas City will have. Because the Chiefs are going to play Sunday. That game's not changing. That game is happening. The Bills play on Tuesday. Now the Chiefs will be more rested for what, could be the game of the AFC. That Bills-Chiefs game could be determining who has the 1 seed in the conference. So this is a monster game. And, for the Bills to end up in a spot where they're going to get 2 days less rest, 2 days less preparation, it's a bad break. It's a rough hand to be dealt. And, if on top of that, the game is not going to be on national TV, if it's going to be played Sunday at 4 or Sunday at 1, then that's an awfully raw deal for Bills fans. And I want to sit here and tell you that the Bills deserve better or the Titans deserve worse. This is just how it's going to go this year. It's going to be hard to get this season in with COVID being a part of it, with something you got to battle. So some teams are going to get the long end of the stick and some teams are going to get the short end of the stick. And if the Bills go Tuesday, Sunday, that's incredibly the short end of the stick. Now, Tuesday, Monday, Do you still get the less rest than the Chiefs? Sure, but at least that game remains a big time night, home game, national TV. And even if it's the first game of the night, if they play at 7 and the other Monday night game goes 8:30 or 9, like happened last weekend, and apparently it's going to happen again this weekend, then still the Bills game becomes the primary game. I don't even care who the Monday night game is. I don't need to see the schedule. That Bills Chiefs game is the numero uno game that night when it comes to football fans across the country. So if the Bills game ends up on Monday, then you can learn to live with this. But if it's Tuesday, Sunday, I think it's a terrible deal for Bills fans. But at least the Bills have an opportunity here not to have to play this game at the end of the season. And now I've had this conversation about what the NFL wants to do, which is play Bills Titans Tuesday, Bills Chiefs sometime next weekend. Obviously, the Titans need to stop having positive tests come up. And it seems like the chances of that are pretty darn low because they've only had 2 days without positive tests over the last 11 or 12. So, I think the most probable scenario still is that the Bills Titans don't play at all this weekend and Bills Chiefs goes back to Thursday night because that was the other half of this. If the Bills and Titans don't play, then Bills Chiefs will remain a Thursday night game. And, the league, I don't think will wait around and make the Bills decide on Monday morning. They will have this call made probably, I'd say, by the end of the day, Saturday at the latest. So the Bills will know what they're doing next week, with enough time to adequately get ready. And again, if that game switches back to the Chiefs on Thursday, well, now it's the Bills who have the rest advantage because they will have had a week off and they will have had, what it would be, 11 days between games. Whereas the Chiefs, I think it'll be 10 days actually, 10 days off between games, whereas the Chiefs will have played twice in those 10 games, Monday and then, coming up this Sunday. So it could still work out for the Bills in terms of Bills v. Chiefs, and I think if you're a Bills fan, I would rather not play the Titans game this weekend. I'd rather have this weekend off because, yeah, I know you're going to have to make that game up end of the year, and we'll get into the forfeit discussion in a minute, but most likely you'll have to make that game up end of the year. So you'll have an extra game going to the playoffs, but you get 10 days off again for this monster game with the Chiefs when the Chiefs are playing twice. The Bills would end up with 2 bye weeks and very nicely spaced too. A week 5 bye and a week 11 bye. Nobody else in the league has that. That could turn out to be a pretty big advantage. So you combine those two things and the fact that, yeah, you might have to make up a game at the end of the year, but the rosters are expanded this year. You can have more guys active on game day, which means you can have more guys not active on game day and more guys rested on game day. So even if the Bills are playing that game end of the year against the Titans, if they don't need it, they can really treat it like a first preseason game and not really play many of their big time players. So to me, the best scenario for the Bills is not playing this game with the Titans this weekend. Now, as for the forfeit stuff, I woke up this morning thinking forfeit was, kind of a pie in the sky kind of thing, a really, really extreme, solution to this problem. But the more the day goes on and the more you hear about what the Titans might have done, emphasis on might have done. We don't know yet. It's all reported. It's rumors and pictures and things that is being investigated, not that it's happened yet. But the more you hear about it, the more you think that a forfeit's possible. The Titans did have 3 or 4 or 5 workouts last week after they were told not to. If the Titans have not been wearing their mask properly, if those things have been going on, then harsh punishment is sure going to be warranted. Will it still be a forfeit? I don't think so. For a couple reasons. Number one, this is the first real harsh punishment that the NFL has had to mete out for COVID-related violations. If you forfeit right now, then whatever this level is, anytime any team gets close to it, you got to forfeit again. You're basically laying down, this is the forfeit level, and now you can't go back on that. If you don't make the Titans forfeit and someone else does something close, well, then you can kind of go with, we showed you what happened to the Titans. You had a warning. You saw what happened, and then you still went and did it. So now we can make you forfeit. Or you can. It's easier to build up a punishment than it is to start at forfeit and try and bring it back down if you have to. And number two, there is still the discussion about whether or not the CBA would force the Bills and the Titans to not get a game check if that game is forfeited. It's not for sure. It depends on how you interpret the language, and I'm sure there'll be 70 lawyers involved in this if this game is eventually forfeited. But, the Bills obviously want no part of that. They would rather play the game and get the game check than the win and no game check. Although Cody Ford said today that, my health is more important than making money. And I'm sure that's true for a lot of guys. And they don't want to play the game in a spot where it's dangerous. But if they can play the game, week 18 in January after the regular season is over and it's safe then, they would rather do that than not get the game check. And I think everybody sees a forfeit as a super, super last resort. So I would not expect the forfeit to be something that the Bills get to take advantage of. Unless, I mean, it has got to be, like I've said a couple times on Twitter, and I think maybe once here, for the Bills to get a forfeit, the evidence has got to be smoking gun level, and it has got to be blatantly egregious and negligent. It has got to be over the top for the Bills to get a forfeit. Now, for example, someone threw out today, Mike Florio for Pro Football Talk, who, by the way, is one of the worst sports football reporters out there. But he did say that an executive told him, take that for what it's worth, that one punishment being floated around is the head coach and the GM of the Titans being suspended the rest of the season, plus draft picks and millions of dollars of fines. That's pretty harsh. That, I mean, you sit back and think about that. That seems pretty darn appropriate. The two guys in charge of the franchise, the head coach and the GM, getting suspended, fines, big time fines, 8-figure fines, and draft picks being deducted. That's a pretty harsh penalty, and you're only punishing the Titans in this situation. Because if you make them forfeit, that might punish the Chiefs. If the Bills win this game by forfeit, and they're 13-3, and the Chiefs are 12-4, and the Chiefs beat the Bills, the Chiefs are gonna have a pretty, good argument for why did we get hosed here? And I know I started this whole thing with, there's going to be competitive balance and equities, but going to the forfeit level, I don't think the league really wants to do. So I'd still be surprised if a forfeit is the answer if this game can't be played on Tuesday. What do you guys got here? Mary Kay, my shirt is blue. Yes, my wristband is pink, but the shirt is blue. I'm allowed to wear a different color shirt. I just got to have some pink on. Tim Mills, now I got an excuse to drink on Tuesday now. Good for you, man. Yep. You do you. Hold on a second. There we go. Michael Ryan, you think? I told you what I think, yes. Andrew Torek, should be a Saturday night game with the Chiefs. The thing about Saturday with the Chiefs, Andrew, and it's not a terrible idea, but you've got Alabama, Georgia college football that night. So, the NFL's never wanted to go up against college football on a Saturday night or high school on a Friday night for that matter, because there's too many eyeballs on that in other parts of the country, not here in the Northeast as much, but certainly elsewhere. So you play Bills Chiefs on a Saturday night, you're telling Fox, okay, it's a national TV game, but no one in the southeastern quarter of the country is going to watch it. And when you have Monday open and you can play it Monday and still and get a better chunk of the national TV audience, I think the NFL would rather do that. Michael Ryan should have been a forfeit. I addressed that. Tim Mills, my favorite team, I grew up a Jets fan. And I still, I wouldn't mind seeing them win. Obviously, they ain't going to do much of that this year. But when you work for it, when you cover a team day in and day out, it's just different. It like being a fan and rooting for something goes out the window. Not entirely, but quite a bit because you're trying to work a game. You're trying to work a team and tell a story. You're trying to do it right. You're trying to be fair. So, rooting for something, I might root for my opinion to be right, like we all do at times. But the other thing to keep in mind is, if I'm, and I still have Jet stuff and I'd be technically a fan, I guess, but if the Jets go to the Super Bowl, this is what I tell everybody over 20 years of doing this. If the Jets go to the Super Bowl, I watch the Super Bowl at home on TV. If the Bills go to the Super Bowl, I go to the Super Bowl. So, being a fan is a little different for me. Chris Dalberth, what happens if the Titans test positive before Tuesday? Will the Titans be forced to forfeit or the NFL push the game to the end of the season? I think it should be played. Yeah, I think, again, it depends on the level of violation the Titans have had already. I think what you're asking there are kind of two different things. If there's a positive tomorrow and or Saturday, then the game's not happening Tuesday. It'll have to happen some other time. And then separately, if the NFL investigation finds that the Titans did terrible things wrong over and over, just thumbing their nose at the NFL, well, then they might call it a forfeit. But positive test this week, don't make it a forfeit. Positive test this week just mean it's not going to be played this week. And I think you and I are on the same page. I think it's going to end up being played. Again, if you wanted me to bet, I'd bet on the game happening after the season. Andrew Torek, thanks for answering that. Tony, NBC should be thrilled to flex Bills Chiefs Sunday night. Could be game of the year. Tony, they can't flex it. First of all, it's Rams Niners right now on Sunday night, which is a good enough game. Not a better game than Bills Chiefs, but you are going to get two much bigger cities than Kansas City, Buffalo, or two bigger TV markets. But the other thing is that usually the NFL rules are if you're going to flex a game, and you can flex that game week 6 next week. But if you are going to flex a game, it's got to be done 2 Mondays before the game. So that deadline was 3 days ago. So to flex a game to Sunday night, I don't think that's what they're going to do. Now, again, this is a totally, we're in We're making everything up from scratch. Totally new season. Wouldn't stun me for the NFL to do that. But you got to keep in mind how the TV networks work, Tony, too. That game's a Fox game right now. Um, the NFL is going to have to give Fox a national TV game so they can get that TV revenue back at some point. But if you put that game on Sunday night, that's the NBC game. So now you're taking this good game that Fox had and you're giving it to NBC. Not out of the realm to happen. This happens with 1 o'clock games all the time where Fox and CBS switch games, but not for a night game. So for all those reasons, I don't think Bills Chiefs will be Sunday night. They're going to leave Niners Rams in that game, and if they want to make it national TV, it's going to have to be Saturday or Monday. Yeah, I think Tim Mills referring to the Jet stuff. Yeah, whatever. I'm not. My life does not live and die with how the Jets do. My life lives and dies more, not that it does, but more so with this job and covering the team and how that goes. I'd rather have a good story that gets 100 retweets and 500 likes than a Jets win. That's how it goes for me right now. Cody Posher, I hope I got the name right. Good luck with calling in sick on Tuesday. The game is scheduled right now for 7 p.m. Tuesday night. So I don't think you got to call in sick. But now maybe you do. I don't know what job you got, but it is 7 o'clock Tuesday night, Bills-Titans. Michael Ryan, bye weeks for most teams don't come off well off back-to-back byes like playoff form. Yeah, I mean, I think you're talking about the Bills end up with a extra game where everybody else is off end of the season. There's no guarantee that's bad for the Bills. It has been proven that, some teams do get rusty. But keep in mind, the last, I think, 5 or 6 Super Bowls have all been played by 1 or 2 seeds. So it has been, a few years since a team who did not have a bye made the Super Bowl. So you got to consider that end of the year. Again, I'll argue that I'd rather have 2 byes in the season and 10 days off before the biggest game of the year than have that extra week off or to just be up with everybody else end of the season. Carl Bauer, thanks. Mike is not a joke, Phil. Chiefs Bills be a Sunday night game. Michael, I got you. I got answered that already. Sabres talk. I mean, at some point, Michael Bradley, I'll get around to Sabres talk. Not now. Look, let's be fair. Trying to discuss the NHL draft. I mean, you and I would be better off talking about knitting or song construction or how to build a house. The NHL draft is a guessing game for most people. For the experts, it's maybe an educated guessing game. So. I will say this. I thought the angst about the Jack Quinn pick was a little overrated. Would it have been better for the Sabres to take Rossi or the guy that Winnipeg got? Probably, but who knows at this point. Guys talking amongst yourselves. Michael, yeah, I'm trying to help you, man. Ask more questions if you want. I'm still kind of firing through these comments. Paula Zach, I think they should move the game to the end of the season. Bills are going to get sick getting close to Tennessee. That is a concern. I will say that, in terms of, just being healthy to be on the field with the Titans on Tuesday, most Bills said today that they trust the NFL. And if the NFL says it's good, then they'll go out and play and not be worried about it. Yeah, you guys are talking Sabres among yourself. Paula, thank you. Now, I will say this is not a man cave. This has been more of a playroom for the daughter. Here, I'll show you this. So there's the Barbie house. Now, she just turned 13 the other day, so we're not using the Barbie house much anymore. But this has been more. See, the Legos are still laying around over there. We don't play with them much anymore. It used to be a Lego thing all the time. Man, me and my daughter did the Lego stuff all the time. But so AJ Feldman, get off my Facebook Live, okay? You got work to do. I know you got work to do. But yeah, this was less a man cave and more of the kids' playroom. A little more of a man cave now. I do watch games down here sometimes. To be honest, what I watch most of the time down here is I watch the soccer on Saturday morning. Big English Premier League fan. Everton is top of the league right now. Big game with Liverpool coming up next Saturday. I know you're not really interested in that, but that's what I use it for now. Regardless, though, Paul, I appreciate the compliment. Tim Mills, yeah, I bet you'd love to see me get sent to a Super Bowl. But all right, Tim, you guys have different skills than I have. Me building a house was also the same as me trying to analyze the NHL draft. Yeah, the Patriots, I don't know if Michael Bradley getting too money to games is a big deal for them. I know the national TV thing is good for the fans, but for the team, they're still going to, at some point, that's going to turn around on them, and they're going to take on somebody on short rest. So, it's not all peaches and cream for the Patriots right now. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all checking in. We'll be back up. I don't know what we'll do now. I'm not going to be back up on Sunday because no matter what, there ain't no game Sunday. You can still watch Buffalo Kickoff live, though, Sunday at 11 o'clock. We start at RochesterFirst.com streaming and then go over to Newsday at 11:30. So please check that out. Again, Real Men Wear Pink. Google it. Find a candidate. Look for my name. Please donate whatever you can. It's appreciated. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a good night. AJ, get back to work. I know you got stuff to do. Now.